Hi, Christine. Thank you so much for booking with me and thank you so much for your patience. I finally made it here. I had so many readings and I was honestly never seeing the end of that batch, but I finally made it to you and I want to thank you so much for just believing in me and I'm obviously booking with me. I hope that you remember that you booked with me because I know some of my clients were like, "What? I booked with you?" Like it's just this batch was so demanding. It was just a really demanding batch. But anyway, let me get into a little bit of how I start my readings and then we'll go like further into everything else because I'm a huge chatterbox and I know this video is gonna take like 40 minutes straight off the bat. But so I always go in a little bit into astrology. Now what I use is this book called Past Life Astrology, as well as another one called Karmic Connections and Patterns of the Past. Now if you don't know who Judy Hall is like an OG, like this lady has like 20 years, might be 10, might be 20, of just like astrology, but she uses it in a past life sense. And I use this book along with Karmic Connections just to get a feel of it. I don't go too deep into astrology. I just feel like it kind of ties everything in together. And plus, I'm not a huge astrology major, so anything that I do say, I just want to make sure that it's like accurate and stuff. But if you're interested, this is the book that I use. I also use, let me tell you what I use. I do pick out a couple of crystals, which they're actually right here. You can't see them, but they're right there. To kind of see like what feel I get for your energy. And actually for yours, I ended up picking a rune as well. And it's really interesting because I never pick runes. Like runes are, they were my first form of divination. But now since tarot has kind of like taken over my life, they're now like they've kind of taken the back seat. But it's very interesting how this rune in particular kind of tied everything in together. So I do pick out some crystals and then I use let me show you what I use. I use this oracle deck. It's called The Past Life Oracle by Doreen Virtue and Brian Weiss. If you know who Doreen Virtue, she's like an OG oracle card creator before she went crazy left and just denounced her work. And then Brian Weiss is the father of modern day past life regression therapy. Now, I took 2 years of past life regression therapy. It is honestly the most amazing therapy that you could get. I feel like the results are very quick, but you have to find somebody that's certified. And he's actually the one that kind of like it brought me to that place because I read one of his books named Many Lives, Many Masters, and that book is honestly life-changing. If you could read that book, it really opens your eyes to the possibilities. That's not his only book. He also wrote Through Time into Healing, Same Soul, Many Bodies. Which one? He wrote like 5 books and I've read all of them. And I actually went to see him when he came down here to Fort Lauderdale. I actually live like further south, but he came to Fort Lauderdale and that's when I learned psychometry. That is like one of the ways, that's another form of energy reading, psychometry. And it's honestly like you grab this ring, put it in your hand and you concentrate, and once it starts getting hot in your hand, you start melding with that energy and you kind of receive information. So that was another form that I learned from his seminar down here. Now let me get into the decks that I'm also using. I'm using this deck along with, I don't use this deck often. This is actually the Tarot of the Divine. Now, it's a very lovely deck. I normally use my OG one, which is it's all the way back there, but it's the Deviant Tarot. That was actually my first tarot deck 5 years ago, and that's what kind of started everything. But I feel like, I don't know if you were into like stories as a child, but I feel like this deck in specific, if you would like it or you're interested in tarot reading, I'm going to show you the box. I feel like you were probably like love stories as a child because I feel like each deck picks their owner. And I was always into fairy tales, but I feel like maybe you yourself were into fantasy and fairy tale as a child, and maybe this kind of brings in some sort of nostalgia for you. But here's the box. And each card has a story. This is which is this one? Man, it's a Japanese story. They have a movie for it. Oh my god, it's gonna kill me if I don't remember this. It starts with a K. Oh my god. I'm gonna die. I really am. Oh, I have the book right here. Oh, thank god. Okay. The Tale of Princess Kaguya. There we go. Oh my god. I reached for this book and I automatically remembered. But yeah, this is from a Japanese tale called The Tale of Princess Kaguya. And each card has its own fairy tale. Oh, look. I feel like this card in itself it was the second card that I pulled, so I feel like it's gonna have a significance for you. But yeah, this is from, it's a Japanese legend, and each card has a different legend from around the globe. So I feel like you would really like it if you're into like mythology and understanding, or just myths and stuff. And even the box in itself is really pretty. I feel like I'm like promoting this, but so I do use that along with the past life astrology just to clarify any lessons or anything that I might have missed. And at the end, I am going to use, I have other decks here, but I just kind of use the ones that called me. I'm going to use the Magical Mermaids and Dolphins to give you kind of like a message. Now, I'm going to get into the astrology first, but the crystals in itself are kind of very interesting to me. So you have a sun in Gemini. Now, suns in Gemini people are very good talkers. You guys could talk a mole into selling, like talk a mole into buying dirt. And I feel like sometimes you do that to yourself. And you can talk yourself into almost anything, good or bad. I feel like I put, what did I put here? I'm sorry if I'm reading over here because I like make notes and stuff. I wrote, what is the truth to you? I feel like truth is such a broad thing, but I feel like finding your truth, since you guys are such great talkers, is kind of a challenge. Like I feel like I said, like you guys could talk yourselves into anything, but you kind of have to step away from that and find out what your truth is, like what is solid and solidified towards you. And I feel like maybe that is that's kind of like a lesson that you're gonna learn, or that you're starting to learn. So it's weird because the Kendrick Lamar lyric popped up into my brain. It happens all the time. Spirit speaks through whatever channel we can get, and he said something, I can't remember the full lyric, but he said, so my karma comes in heavy, and to pimp a butterfly. Geminis are notorious for their karma, for the solid fact that you guys have been avid talkers, and you might have avidly talked someone into something good or something bad. It just depends on, obviously you'll see it play out into your life with certain relationships. Now don't ever feel like because you're a bad person in a past life, like you're gonna be a bad person in this life, or like something you did in your past life is directly correlated to this lifetime. We all have the ability to make choices. But I feel like a lot of your karma does come from your silver tongue. It's intellectual stimulation mixed with gratification. And I put that because you have a moon in Aries. Moon in Aries people are very demanding, emotionally demanding. They are very emotionally dominant. And you guys play this role in your relationships. Now, it can kind of be, I put gratifying because your Gemini sun loves to be adored, and then your Aries moon loves to be acknowledged. And I feel like it's like the Aries moon kind of wants like egotistical gratification, like pay attention to me, my emotions. And it's easier for you to get an ego boost than it is for you to feel like emotionally solidified, if that makes sense. And I feel like it can be hard for other people to meet your emotional needs because you expect so much of yourself. Like, I feel like you have to meet yourself halfway in the emotional needs department for you to have anyone else meet those needs. I feel like this can cause issues in your relationship. And I feel like just maybe being more dominant towards yourself, like towards your emotions, and knowing when to, be like, hey, I'm asking for too much right now. Let me just go in little by little. I feel like you set your standards very high emotionally, but you have to be realistic of what you expect. Like, are you willing to give that? And if you're willing to give that, then someone else is willing to give you that. Like I said, you have to meet yourself in the middle. And I feel like it's also communication versus assertion. I'm sorry, I'm Spanish, and sometimes my freaking whatever. Communication versus assertion. Assertion? Yeah, communication versus that. You could take the spotlight in these areas because you have such heavy Leo in the third house. Your chart is mostly fire. I feel like you would be great leading other people. I don't know what your career path is, but you take role in the communication, community, family area with the sun in Gemini and so much Leo in your third house. I feel like you could be a great public speaker, like, or you could do more work that requires you to advocate for something, especially in your community. Since you have so much Leo, which Leo's leadership in that area, I feel like that's something that you could really get into. Now, let's go into the crystals. I have, let me show you. Oh, I have Lowlight here. I have Selenite. Oh, sorry, it's kind of hard. Oh, I forget where the camera is. Selenite. Oh, this is Tiger's Eye. Now I have like a separate Tiger's Eye stone, but this one's cool because it's around a dragon. And then I have Kyanite. Now, Lowlight is for receiving visions. It's for kind of it's kind of to enhance your intuition, but it's also about self-responsibility, and it's overcoming codependency issues. If you see a little fuzzy thing in the back, that's my dog, by the way. It's about overcoming codependency issues. It's a stone of intuition, and I feel like, oh, it's also a stone for like for your liver. So if you drink a lot, maybe this is kind of like the cue to take a little step back. It detoxes the liver. I don't know if I believe in that a stone is going to detox your liver, but it's, if you're reaching for the stone, you probably need like some sort of detox in your life. Now, selenite is to kind of like, I feel like your emotions can become fiery and kind of hard to handle, depending on your relationship with somebody. I feel like I said, your relationships can be really over dominant. Not your relationships, sorry, your emotions could be over dominant, and this kind of soothes that. And it's also like, intuition has already popped up twice. I'm sorry, that's my daughter. Intuition has already popped up twice, so I'm not sure if you're trying to work more on I don't know if you're trying to work more on enhancing your intuition, or kind of I feel like that's probably it. Like, you're probably working more on towards enhancing your intuition, or getting more connected to that part of yourself. I don't know if you're also a tarot reader. I don't feel like you are, but I feel like maybe you're interested in this area and you're getting to that place. And then this is Tiger's Eye. Now, Tiger's Eye is a stone of grounding. You have so much fire and air in your chart. The little bit that I did see was the Capricorn that's generational. So I feel like you need to be able to ground yourself and your ideas. I feel like sometimes you could just bounce all over the place. And with that Gemini in you, that silver tongue, I feel like you could talk yourself into almost anything. But I feel like your ideas have to be more grounded into reality, and have to be more set in stone. I don't know how great you are at planning, but I feel like with that Leo in your house, you can probably be very, very good at planning, especially if it's like social events. I feel like you just need to try your hand out at it. But yeah, so here I have kyanite. Now, kyanite is a crystal of like past life recall. I kind of put this little note around it because it kind of helps me like channel specifically, like if I want to know something specific, like if I want a name, or if I want a relationship. Like, what did I put in this one? I actually have not I don't remember. It's been a while since I put this one in it, so you're the first to see me. Oh, interesting. I don't know what I was trying to channel, but I have Kyoto, Japan. I don't know if that's significant to you, or it will be significant to you, but I'm gonna leave this note somewhere around here. I have had that note in this crystal for a while, so I don't know if this is gonna come into your reading. But actually, Japan already has come up twice. This is a fairy tale from Japan. Okay, anyway. So the crystal that I chose is Dagaz, and it means dawn. Now, it's the crystal of intuition and awakening, and of bold change. This is what I was saying. I'm not sure if you're trying to kind of own your spirituality. I feel like we're all spiritual in some sense, and maybe you're starting to recognize your intuition more, and now you're needing this little push, or this little like, this little boost in some sort of way. And that's why this rune came up. Like I told you, rune reading was my first form of divination, so I find it very, very strange that it would come up with you. I'm just gonna get right into the reading. I'm gonna set these little crystals aside and let's see what comes up. I'm actually very interested that Kyoto, Japan just popped up out of nowhere. So the way I tell people this works is, I don't know if you've seen Avatar: The Last Airbender. Aang channels certain lifetimes when he has different problems or scenarios, because technically you've already lived through almost every situation, and you kind of repeat the lesson, and you repeat it to see if either you learned it or you failed it. And depending if you learned it or you didn't, it is amplified or diminished in your current lifetime. Yeah, sometimes more than one lifetime can pop up. I've realized that this last batch has had like 2 to 3 lifetimes, and this explains why. I feel like I had to be in the place mentally and emotionally to kind of deliver these messages to you guys, because it was hard. But anyway, enough of me chattering. Let's see. What message do we have? What past lifetime most correlates Kristine's past lifetime? What the heck is this? Sometimes it needs a little push. Oh, what past life? Okay, I feel like, yeah, I got the message. Okay. I feel like there's still one more in there. I feel like you definitely do have a past life in Japan, but it's mostly diminished right now by a greater force. This is very interesting. Give me a sec. So I feel like it's not, Spirit's not done. Yep, I'll do it. Let me see. What do we got here? What the heck? I'm a little confused, but I'm not confused. Okay, so I have medicine man or woman. I have Native American. Now, Native American doesn't feel like Native American. I'll tell you what feelings I get off certain cards. I have wars and battles. I feel like this is like feudal era Japan though. Like, I don't know. I have trust and faith. I have farm. And I'm getting like, it's really weird. Like, normally I have baby and then I have phobia. I'm sorry, I start to like chatter once I start receiving things, but I feel like, yes, one is not like Native American, like from here Native American, but this feels like, I don't want to say Peru either. This feels more like Ecuadorian. Yeah, this feels more like Ecuadorian or Central America. I don't know if you're Central American, but this is what this lifetime feels like. And then this lifetime feels like feudal era Japan. Yeah, I don't know if you've ever seen, it's weird. I tell people that the way that Spirit talks to you is the way that you understand. And for whatever reason, I don't know if you've ever seen the anime Inuyasha, where they're in feudal Japan and they have the old lady that she is like a medicine woman. And that is what I'm getting now. Spirit will speak to you in the way that you understand it. And apparently I only understand in anime. Don't quote me. But, yeah, I'm getting like that old, like feudal era Japan, Kyoto. That is so weird. Like what I'm seeing is very similar to this, minus the girl. Like, I'm seeing like old cottages, very old houses. Like, these houses are built through like dirt and wood. And you're a very, very old woman. Like, I've gotten, that is so weird. My last bunch is so weird because this card appeared for another client like earlier in the batch. So I'm really confused like what my last batch is really like. Anyway, I'm just gonna get onto your reading because if I start rambling, it's never gonna be the end. I'm actually gonna separate these lifetimes into 2, and I'm gonna tell you why. So I feel like one lifetime is easier to go than the other, and I'm gonna go with the harder one. So I'm gonna take the Native American, Ecuadorian, like Peru feeling, and it feels like this one farm, and trust and faith are all together. And then Native American, wars and battles, baby, and phobia are together. Now, I'm sorry if I mess up any of your pronouns, but it feels like you lost a child. Like, during this lifetime, I feel like maybe now you're afraid of having kids, and you might not know why you're afraid if you do want to have kids. I feel like it's just a fear of, I don't know if it's abandonment or just an irrational fear of having children. But I feel like this is a little gruesome, but what I'm getting is that you are a woman in this lifetime. You are in a little tribe more towards, like, I wish I had a map, more towards like the bottom of Ecuador. And you're very young. You're like 23, 24. And you are happily married. I want to say you're married, but this is a very different type of marriage. This kind of feels not arranged, but this feels like not like you're forced to be together, but like suitors were chosen for you. This feels like a very old style type of vibe. I don't know if you've ever been to Ecuador, you're attracted to the landscaping, or like you dream a lot of mountains and like villages, but I feel like your dreams kind of point you towards mountains, and the mountains in themselves, they feel like they have like mist. Like I'm seeing a lot of mist around the mountains, and even like what I'm seeing is like the houses are kind of in the mountains, if that makes sense. Like they're not caves. Like I'm about to start drawing. It's been a hot minute, but I want to like show you what I'm seeing. Like it's like, oh man, I did not go to art school, but I'm gonna draw this mountain like this, and then in the physical mountain there's houses. Like they dig in here and they make houses. This is the ugliest drawing. This is horrible. Okay, but and then like there's like little paths like this that go down the mountain and out. Now for whatever reason I get Spanish influenced, so I feel like during this time, this kind of feels like the 1800s. You are wearing kind of like traditional cloth type wear. This feels like sheepskin, cow skin. Is that where farm comes into play? But this feels like sheepskin, farm skin. And I don't know if you're specifically attracted to the color red, but I do get that there is like a high importance with red. So you do get to choose who you marry, but it's like, I'm getting like 3 people and you kind of choose which one you want. And I feel like this is a part of the dominating aspect of yourself. Like the Aries in you chooses who you can dominate, if that makes sense. This person feels very sweet, very nice. Like I feel like they're a Virgo or like an earth sign, so I don't know if you dated an earth sign, but they feel very like retracted, and I feel like you need that type of relationship. You need someone that is not as hot-headed as you, that can kind of balance you out. Now, am I saying you're gonna end up with a Virgo? No, but I'm feeling like in this lifetime, this is who you end up. This could be a close friend now, even a best friend, someone that you consider a soulmate with, or someone that you have like an immediate like click with. But this person feels like they were kind of like the grounding, which this crystal comes back into play. They were kind of like the grounding to you during this lifetime, and you married this person and you guys were fairly like happy. I feel like you do a lot of I don't want to call it like pottery work, but it feels like you create things. Like you feel like just a natural creative, even if you may not be now, or there is some form of creativity that you really, really like, but you feel like a natural creative. Like I see her kind of like mushing things. Like there's like berries and stuff, and she's like mushing them, and she's like drawing things. I don't know if you're into drawing now, or if you dream of making these like paintings and like, or seeing these like weird, like, I can't even describe what I'm seeing right now because the art is so strange. Like, not strange in a bad way, but it's like a mixture of colors. Like, yeah, it's like a mixture of colors. And I feel like you take the lead in this relationship a lot, but again, there comes like a really, really bad time when I feel like it's like a Spanish influence, and they were kind of coming up the mountain pass. I feel like it's 2 passes like this. I'm sorry, my drawing skills are horrifying, but I feel like the color red is gonna come into place during a certain time in your life, like, or maybe right now it's asking you to channel that color. Red is the color of passion, it's the color of energy, it's the color of love, and I feel like maybe you need to channel that energy right now. But whatever. So there's like a mountain pass. This is a mountain pass, and it's 2 mountain passes. Like, one path leads to the other, and it kind of like goes like this. And I feel like they were trying to make their way. They were trying to make their way through the mountain, and ended up taking a wrong path, and so they have to make their way around the mountain. And that's kind of when they saw the opportunity to take things. Like, I feel like the village gets ransacked, and I feel like from this scare you lose the baby. Like, I feel like you were pregnant, and then like, yeah, it feels very, very sad. I don't know if in your lifetime you've ever experienced something like this, but I feel like if you ever decide to have kids, this little soul will be reborn again. I don't feel like they're born yet. I'm getting the name kind of like a flower. Not a specific, I'm not getting a specific of a name, but I'm getting like the name of a flower. It could even be in another language, but I do feel like this caused some sort of like strain, or maybe what is it called, like a vow that you would just stay away from having kids, or not have kids till you're at a certain point in your life, but even then you kind of feel afraid to. But yes, the baby does take a big toll on your life. I feel like you could have dreams of like bleeding out, or nightmares, and I hope that this does not trigger, because sometimes when I do past life regressions, it starts triggering subconscious memories in people. But I feel like there's gonna be a friend, or there has been a friend that's betrayed you, and they were part of this like group that caused a lot of like hurt in your life. And I want to see if I can get a specific. Wow, I said I was gonna use this tarot deck, but sometimes I catch myself just talking. But 7 of Wands. What did I say? And then the 5 of Swords. So 7 of Wands and 5 of Swords. So I feel like there was difficulties in their relationship. With the 7 of Wands here, it could have been a really, really rocky relationship. This could have been somebody that you dated. They could have been another earth or fire sign. They could have been another fire or air sign. I feel like it's probably going to be another fire sign. I'm leaning more towards fire. And then the 5 of Swords here. Like, I feel like this was obviously Isis, and what happened with her husband, that her husband was scattered. And I feel like your energy might be sort of scattered right now too. If someone did betray you, or has betrayed you in the past, or even look, Justice is here. Like, I feel like Justice is here, and so is Death. I feel like this relationship changed you in some sort of way, or will change you. I feel like you need to be very careful who you surround yourself by or with, because I feel like people can present themselves one way towards you, and then at the end of the day they will turn around and do a complete 180. I feel like this lifetime was more geared towards relationships, for the fact that I feel like you need to, like, not set boundaries, but maybe take more of that domineering role in your Aries moon, and be more maybe like patient with yourself. I have Temperance here. Be more patient with yourself. I feel like you could be very quick to befriend people, and you kind of just, you want that company, you want that love, and then they can turn around and just flip the switch on you. I feel like that's what happened here. I feel like things kind of flipped the switch from one way to another, and this kind of just all jumbled up. I feel like there was like a really sad like point in this lifetime that you did not have kids. You lived to like 40, 45, which was kind of average for this time just due to the climate and due to everything, but it took a huge toll on you emotionally, and I feel like maybe that's what you're afraid of if you do want to have kids, that it'll take like a huge emotional toll. Or if you have kids, I feel like you will have a lot of phobias surrounding them. Like you're gonna be afraid that something happens to them or something takes them away. And this is more than mom anxiety. This feels like a solidified fear that you kind of talk yourself into, and this could be related to this lifetime. I also feel like you need to embody the Queen of Pentacles energy. Wow, that was literally the last card. You need to embody the Queen of Pentacles energy and know that you are enough for your future family or your current family, and that you can handle these phobias and these fears relying around like your family structure. I feel like that's why that Leo in the third house is about community, but it's also about communication. I feel like not like maybe you need to see a therapist, but like maybe communicating more towards those fears if you do have a partner, and where they kind of stem from. I feel like for you right now they could be irrational fears, but I feel like they're very much solidified. Do we have anything else? I'm already 31 minutes in, and I just always keep 10 of coins. Oh, I feel like you can get to the 10 of coins. I feel like the 10 of coins is not only about like family, but it's also about stability. And even the old grandma back here, like massaging the dog, kind of speaks to me in a way. Like I feel like your loyalties are safe so long as you have boundaries and you know and you trust. I feel like that's why intuition is here too. I feel like you probably already kind of knew that this person was not going to be the best for you, or you will know, and it's just trusting that intuition. I feel like maybe this is what's brought you to this point of like trying to strengthen your intuition and trying to strengthen yourself, that you kind of need that, you not only for like your personal life, but for your spiritual life as well. Let's take a look at the next lifetime. I'm gonna say I'm not gonna run through it, but like I'm gonna try to see. I feel like trust and faith is like such a like a good lesson, sort of say, when it comes to that lifetime too. I feel like you could have had another chance to start over. I feel like you can't let yourself like be brought down by something that hasn't happened yet, and maybe that's kind of like, or has happened. I feel like maybe that's your lesson right now. So back to this lifetime, I feel like if you have significant ties or have wanted to go to Japan, but this is more the countryside. This feels very like rural Japan. This does not feel like Tokyo. This feels like more towards like the mountains, and this feels like feudal era Japan. Like I'm telling you, I'm getting like this little cottage. It's like dirt and like it's dirt and wood. So like they use the wood first, and they use the dirt to kind of pile it so it doesn't get hot. I don't know if that's like super specific, but that's what I'm getting. Like it's like very, very hot, and I feel like you need to come in contact with this person. Like this feels like an old grandma. Like she feels like 80. Like she's survived and she's like lived and thrived for a long time, and she has a lot of like wisdom and intuition, and I feel like she's like an old priestess. Like I'm getting old priestess. So I feel like a lot of the work that she does is more to uplift the community than to really not really protect. I feel like it's more of her being there kind of gives them a comfort. And again, like that community, that communication. I feel like you're a sick old grandma though. excuse my language, but I feel like she's very like feisty and stuff. Like, I'm sorry, my phone was but she was very feisty, and she's very like matter of fact with people. I feel like sometimes people come with her with like unrealistic requests, like my son is not about to get married and he needs something quick, and she feels like, I'm hearing like, maybe your son is just not good looking. Like, I don't know if you're this sassy now, but it feels like she's very much this like unrequiting force. I feel like this is where you probably accumulated a lot of your karma, because she feels like this lifetime is very isolated and very lonely, but she finds like solace in like the work that she does. And I feel like maybe there's gonna be a time, or there was a time, when you were very, very isolated away from everybody, and maybe it's time as now. You're very, very isolated and away from everybody because you're trying to find that spiritual aspect of yourself, or that aspect is calling you. If you've had dreams of being in Japan, or being this like old gray-haired grandma wearing like red, she's wearing like a very old, like, kind of looks like baggy red, like a kind of like a jumpsuit, but very old school. Like, I don't even know how to describe this. It's like a robe jumpsuit type of attire. I'm not gonna try to draw it, but I'll save you that. I feel like a lot of her life was lived through isolation and through learning and through kind of like overcoming that loneliness, because she had a greater purpose. I feel like maybe you're getting these kind of two off split lives, because one is overcoming loneliness and one is overcoming grief. Like, I feel like these are two strong emotions that you might deal with, or that you have dealt with in the past, and it feels like in one you didn't overcome it and in one you did. And I feel like this is why these two lifetimes are so opposite from each other. One, you're kind of young, and the other one, you're a very, very old woman. And I feel like maybe that's why that tiger's eye is also here, the stone of courage, the stone of stability. I feel like you might be in the middle ground right now. I feel like you might not feel that same thing to overcome grief and overcome sorrow, but I feel like in the end of the day you can. Like, I feel like it's just giving yourself that push, and maybe this is like the spiritual aspect of yourself is the thing that's giving you that push. I feel like that's what held grandma on for so long. I feel like grandma did not get married, but grandma saw a lot of people that passed away. I feel like she was one of the oldest in the village. The village in itself has like, it's a big fruit tree. Like, I'm getting like, it's not this fruit, this is an apricot, but there's a big fruit tree in the middle. And I feel like this might be significant to you in some way. Kind of planting, kind of planting your seeds and watching your fruit grow. I feel like your first harvest is not going to be as bountiful as your second harvest, if that makes sense. I feel like your second time around in whatever you're working on in your life is going to prove more fruitful than when you tried it the first time. And this could be going for your career, this could be going for your personal life, this could be going for your relationships. The second time around, or even if it's your third time, it's going to be a lot better, because you are kind of prepared and you kind of understand. And I feel like being prepared and being paranoid are two different things. Like, you could tell in your mind, this is going to happen to me again, this is going to happen to me again, but that's being paranoid. Being prepared means you'll know what steps to take after. And I feel like that's very indicative of her life. I feel like she experienced a lot of loss, but she knew what steps to take. I feel like, are you particularly close to your grandfather? Because I feel like in this lifetime he was not your son, but he was kind of like a figure like your son. And he went off into a war and he did not come back, and this was kind of like one of the greater losses of her life, and she overcame that. And I feel like you need to overcome some part of yourself, or some part of a grief, and maybe that's why you're receiving this reading now. I'm gonna go ahead and jump into, because I realized I've been talking for 40 minutes. I have to better time management myself, but I feel like I've been talking for more than 40 minutes, and I want to get into these like oracle pulls right here. Let's see, what message do we have? Ooh. Okay. Speaking hard. I have playtime, make a decision, and friendship. I feel like friendship and playtime, I feel like you need to get out of your head or get out of yourself and spend some time with the people that care about you. I feel like that's your message from spirit. It says the dolphins know the importance of playing as joy creates miracles and manifestations. I feel like you need to find that joy for you to bring in that next era of your life. I feel like that has a lot to do with the fruit here. I feel like the number 4 is very significant to you, or the number 1, new beginnings or stability. And then it says make a decision. Feeling stuck and indecisive, listen to your intuition and make a decision. Again, the topic of intuition is coming up. I feel like you're either strengthening it or you're not fully paying attention to it. I feel like you need to channel that grandma. You need to get some meditation, think of the color red, and channel this grandma, because she had some very, very strong and keen intuition. And I feel like might have been over the years that she picked up on it, but I feel like that's still part of you. And I feel like you can sometimes deny your intuition because you think too much. I feel like you live in your head, and if you're not living in your head, your emotions are getting the better of you. And I feel like you have to find a happy medium. You can think about your emotions in a healthy way and channel them in a healthy manner rather than letting them overrun you. Let your friends support you. I feel like sometimes we can be afraid to be the burden, but one day of you being supported is not going to take away from the rest of their week. Like, I feel like you need that support. I'm going to pull one more. Waves of prosperity. What did I say? New abundance. And this one says prosperity begins. I feel like that's your overall message. Like something like, remember what I said, your first seeds are not going to be as prosperous as your second and your third, because you already know what you're heading into. You already know what you want. And I feel like when you're more solidified on what you want, it's going to come quicker. And I feel like that's where you're at right now. I feel like, I don't want to call it a crossroads, but I feel like you're already making your decision on where you're heading. I'm gonna pick one of these cards and see what it says. Patience. The stork. The stork is also like a very like refuted in Japan and stuff, and this kind of gives me like rural Japan vibes. But I feel like this is more patience with yourself. I feel like you're patient with other people, but you're quick to lose patience on yourself. And yeah, I feel like take a little step back if you need to, but know that things are happening in their time. And I hope that if you have any questions that you could reach out to me, or just let me know how this reading went in general. I hope to hear from you soon, Kristen, and thank you so much. Bye!